All right, we're going to talk about world-class wine today, but probably not from any place you're thinking of. We are about to uncork the absolutely incredible story of a country that is making a huge name for itself in a field nobody saw coming.
So, just for a second, when I say vineyard, what pops into your head? You're probably picturing, the rolling hills of Tuscany, maybe the sunny valleys of California, or the historic chateaus of Bordeaux, right? I mean, those are the absolute titans of the wine world.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bet it didn't. And honestly, that's what makes this story so cool. We're talking about a country that's famous for K-pop, for cutting-edge technology, not so much for its Cabernet Sauvignon. But believe me, that is all starting to change. And let's be clear, this is not just some quirky little hobby. South Korea is seriously forging its own unique wine identity, and they're doing it by blending this deep, ancient agricultural knowledge with some seriously futuristic tech. It's a story of pure grit and determination. Now, what's just wild about this timeline is how new all of this is. The story starts out pretty modestly, right? Late 20th century, they're planting some American grapes, making simple table wines. Then in the 70s, you start to see French varieties pop up. But it's really in just the last couple of decades that the industry has, well, it's just exploded with investment and unbelievable innovation. But here's the thing. Making wine in South Korea is not as simple as just, planting a few vines and hoping for the best. Nope. It is a constant, uphill battle against a really, really difficult climate. And this is where the real drama of the story kicks in. To really get this, think about it like this. An ideal wine region like you'd find in the Mediterranean gets that gentle, predictable weather. South Korea gets pretty much the exact opposite. We're talking punishingly cold winters that can literally kill the vines, followed by brutally hot, humid summers, complete with torrential monsoon rains. So what does that actually mean for the grapes? Well, those summer monsoons and all that humidity create a perfect breeding ground for fungal diseases that can just wipe out an entire crop. Then the freezing winters mean the plants need extreme protection just to survive. And oh yeah, on top of all that, it's a super mountainous country, so just finding a good patch of flat land to plant on is a huge challenge all by itself. So you might be asking, how on earth do they pull it off? Well, this is where that famous Korean ingenuity really shines. They were faced with a climate that should make growing wine grapes almost impossible. But instead of giving up, they innovated. And their approach is just a masterclass in problem solving. First off, a lot of growers just move their vineyards indoors, using these incredible high-tech greenhouses to control everything. The rain, the humidity, you name it. Second, they're putting a ton of effort into developing new grape varieties that are naturally tough enough to handle a local climate. And third, they've completely embraced precision agriculture. We're talking drones and sensors monitoring the vines with pinpoint accuracy, which is just crucial when you're working on steep hillsides. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what they're doing. It's not just about flashy gadgets. It's about blending that amazing tech with a deep-rooted respect for farming to create something totally new and incredibly resilient. Okay, so beating the climate is one thing, right? But creating a wine that has a truly unique identity, what the French call terroir, that real sense of place, that's a whole other challenge. And that is exactly what Korean winemakers are focused on right now. So meet Chungsu. This white grape is the perfect example of that innovation we've been talking about. It was developed right there in Korea specifically to thrive in that humid climate, and it produces these beautifully crisp, aromatic wines that are just distinctly Korean. It's not trying to be a Sauvignon Blanc or a Chardonnay. It's its own thing. It's an original. And Chungsu is definitely not alone. The whole Korean wine scene is this fantastic mix of the familiar and the totally unique. You'll find the popular, really fruity Campbell Early Red. You'll find the truly native and earthy Meru, which is a wild grape. And of course, you still have international superstars like Cabernet Sauvignon, which winemakers have figured out how to adapt to the Korean soil. But here's what's really cool. These wines aren't being made in some kind of bubble. They're crafted with a very specific purpose in mind, to pair with the complex, bold, amazing flavors of hanjik, or Korean food. Just imagine it, a crisp, acidic Changsal wine, just cutting perfectly through the richness of some Korean barbecue, or a light-bodied red complementing all the savory notes in a dish of japchae. It's brilliant. And out of this movement, some real stars are beginning to emerge. You've got pioneers like Grand Coteau, who are really pushing the limits of fine wine. Then you have wineries like Dokyu Yangzhou, who are all in on native grapes. And then you have places like Durian, which are even making these stunning ice wines from grapes that freeze on the vine during those harsh winters.
So all of this passion, all of this hard work and innovation, it's all building toward a really, really bright future. The journey is definitely not over, but you can see exactly where it's headed. So what's the engine behind all this growth? A powerful domestic market. You can see it right here in this chart. Koreans are drinking more wine than ever before, and there's this growing sense of pride and curiosity about their own local bottles. This demand at home is what's really fueling the industry. And check out this number, over 150. That's how many wineries there are now across South Korea. I mean, that's not a niche hobby anymore. That is a real budding industry, a whole community of producers totally dedicated to their craft.
And guess what? The rest of the world is finally starting to sit up and take notice. Korean wines are beginning to bring home medals from some of the most prestigious competitions on the planet, like the Decanter World Wine Awards. This is that outside proof that the quality is absolutely there.
So when you pull it all together, you see this powerful storm of factors. You've got relentless tech innovation, you've got supportive government policies, you've got a boom in wine tourism, and you've got that ever-growing consumer demand. It's basically the perfect recipe for success.
Which kind of leaves us with one last thought. For centuries, the world's wine map has seemed pretty much set in stone. But South Korea's story of just overcoming impossible odds proves that greatness can literally blossom anywhere. So the next time you're looking for a new bottle of wine to try, maybe, just maybe, you'll remember the unexpected vintner.